lot of stupid stuff this week for the first episode of the new season.
Yes, we are in it with a new season, with a new format, because that's our format, is we change our format every season.
Yeah, it's not a big format change this time. We're just not going to do a heavy plot synopsis anymore because you don't need that. You don't need us to waste time telling you what happened if you already watched it. And if you didn't watch it, you're probably not listening to this segment.
Yeah. So it
You're going to
makes
skip to
everything
the
nice and
only
neat.
show you're watching.
Yeah, that's what time codes are for. We put the time codes in now.
You put the time codes in.
I put the time codes in. But I put the time codes in now, so people can do that. They can just listen to the segment about the shows they care about.
By the way, his name is Ian. He's the guy that does the time codes.
Hi, I'm Captain Time Codes Ian. And the other guy is Alex. He remembers the shows a lot better than I do.
It's true. I have a great memory.
He does.
I can remember almost all of the original Higurashi.
He can.
Almost. It's been like 10 years, so I don't know.
I've had a lot less time in between what I've watched of Higurashi, and my memory is not as good.
If you're new here, this is the Protagonist seat. We are a podcast where we talk about 5 anime shows every season, and oh boy, we got quite a list of 5.
Yeah.
2 of them are sequels. This is a weird season because it was either going to be like sequels or a bunch of isekai.
Yeah, this is the season of Sequelitis because we didn't want to cover like 7 isekai shows again.
But instead, I feel like we got a pretty good diversity. The sequel that we picked for this time around, we actually only ended up with one. Obviously, we're still watching Higurashi, which is a sequel, but we
started that last season.
We also picked back up Dr. Stone.
Yep, because Dr. Stone is pretty good.
Granted, we picked up Higurashi before we knew it was a sequel. We thought it was going to be a remake.
Yeah, and then it turned out to be a sequel.
Yeah.
And holy shit, some stuff happens, but we'll get to that. As usual, we keep our sequels at the back of the list.
But, yep, see if you were watching any of the shows on this list. The time codes will be down below. But we're going to start with our first pick for this season, which is an actually really interesting one, which I didn't expect. Most of this list I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, besides obviously the sequels, which I knew I already liked the existing source material. But Otherside Picnic.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what possessed me to watch it. I just, picked it. I saw it and I was like, fuck it, why not?
I saw a girl with a gun, and I was like, that looks neat.
Turns out there's a lot more than guns.
So with this one, the basic plot line of the show is that there is our world and the spirit world, obviously, and these girls have the ability to travel between the two worlds, and they're going back and forth between them because the main character girl doesn't really seem like she has much of a reason to. She's just kind of going along with it because, she seems like one of those my life has no purpose kind of people.
Yeah, relatable.
And then the other girl seems to be looking for someone who disappeared on the other side, so they end up kind of forming a good team because one seems kind of impulsive and the other seems more logical. You got to have that dynamic.
Especially when you're dealing with some Japanese folklore monsters.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of ghosts and monsters all on the other side. A lot of times stuff from the internet. I don't know if it's actual real stuff, like the Wiggle Wiggle or whatever.
The Wiggle Waggle? I tried to remember what the Japanese name was, but I forgot to write it down.
But yeah, that's the basic outline of the show, and we're just going to jump right into what we thought about it. There's 2 episodes out so far, so we watched episode 1 and 2 by now.
Yeah, the first episode is your basic introduction to the characters. It throws a simple monster at you, the Wiggle Waggle.
Yeah, and you can't look at it.
You can't look at it.
I do like how this world works in the sense of just like they run into that room to hide. And then as soon as they open the door, they're back in like a city street.
Yeah,
because I wasn't really sure how it worked. Because the part where they're on the elevators, and apparently it's a myth where if you press the elevator buttons in a certain order, it'll take you to the other side.
Right. I think a lot of the stuff in this show is going to follow that kind of formula
Yeah,
where everything tied to it is going to end up being related to some kind of I don't want to say mythology because it's not mythology. It's the urban legends, your creepy's pasta,
yeah.
stuff like that.
They go to, that it's a world of creepy pasta.
It's a
But
spooky spaghetti planet.
I like the two girls. They seem pretty neat.
Yeah,
Especially obviously the first time they go there, they end up defeating one of the ghosts. But by doing so, one of the girls stares at it for too long, so her eye turns all blue. So I think she has the ability to sort of see stuff in the spirit world, whereas the other one, because she pulled all the stuff that was kind of growing around her eye off, so her hand ends up becoming weirdly phantasmal. So one of them
yeah.
can touch the spirit world, the other one can see it, which is a
Because
neat sort of combo.
I think that's gonna be the crux of how they're gonna defeat a lot of this stuff.
And that's
And
why
they're
they gotta be
also
partners. It's like, hey, I can see it, you gotta touch it.
yeah, you gotta I guess you gotta tear the soul out of this thing, this esoteric concept, whatever. Just destroy it with your ghost hand. That's cool. And I don't know if anyone else can see that her hand is all weird or that her eye is all weird.
No, yeah, because remember they went to in the second episode they go to see the friend, or like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
the girl in the chair.
The girl in the chair.
Yeah,
Basically, she's a
she's their smart person who doesn't actually go into the field.
yeah.
So yeah, they get these cubes for defeating the ghosts, and she wants to inspect them. So she'll pay them to go collect the cubes. But yeah, she can see that their bodies are all messed up now because of their contact with the other side.
No one else really seems to give a shit. Which, to be
Also,
fair, blonde girl whose hand is phantasmal just wears a glove, and the glasses girl who kind of seems like a loner doesn't really seem to have a lot of friends.
yeah, so no one's probably looking at her anyway.
Yeah.
I guess you could just play it off like you're wearing a contact or something, just be like a Chuny BO or something.
This is
Like,
my shadow eye.
this is my demon eye. Using it, I can see into the future.
But if you stare into it long enough, it'll steal your soul. Yeah,
And then
I could
definitely
see
no one
that
will look at
working.
you.
And then no one will look at you because you're chunibyo and weird.
And they're in college. I got, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's also a nice thing. They're in college. That's a rarity generally.
I like that. I think that's something that draws me a little bit more to the series as well, because like there's a lot of series about high schoolers, and I am not a high schooler anymore. I can't. I have a little bit more trouble relating to the young kids,
Yeah,
which it's a
it's
feels
it's rare
bad
with
man
like because
statement.
that's why I think Golden Times sticks out in my mind so much. Is it's a rom com about adults.
Holy shit! I didn't know they had those.
They have three, four, maybe five tops.
Did they? They didn't make an adaptation of Spy Family, right?
Not yet, but they probably will, considering it's doing it's selling gangbusters.
Damn. I mean, I've heard it's real good.
It is. I read the first couple of chapters of it. I've fallen off reading it, but it was really good from what I did read.
Hmm.
It's just like I don't know. It's nice. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, except only
Probably
one's
written
an
better.
assassin. Yeah, and written better.
It's not a high bar to achieve when compared to the hit film Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But pulling it back to Otherside Picnic a little bit.
Yeah, so they go into the in the second episode they go into the world and they apparently other people can be there because a dude shows up with like an AK
Yeah,
and he's like,
because
"Stop! There's a glitch over there."
one of the
Apparently the
things
world has glitches.
yeah, but one of the things they establish is like there's just guns lying around, which
Oh yeah, there's a part where she pulls out like a gun and she's like, "A gun." She's like, "Don't worry, it's only a Makarov."
Yeah, because Glasses Girl is a Japanese citizen, and they don't have guns over there. Like there's a ban on guns in Japan. So like to suddenly pull
No,
out a
apparently you can
Makarov,
own a gun. It's just like hugely difficult to do so and almost not worth the trouble. And
no shit.
it can't even be a very good one.
Well,
It
they've
costs you a
solved
lot of money. They need to inspect it, I guess, every like so often. So why
they've
would you bother? Also,
they
the
have
country is incredibly safe, so there's little reason to do so.
yeah. The biggest danger in Japan is getting hit by the isekai truck
And I guess train molesters.
and train molesters. But you can fight off a train molester with like anything. Most of
Anything.
them probably haven't like encountered much resistance. So
Yeah.
that's a commentary on Japan's culture.
Maybe you should just shout at them, and that would probably make them really nervous. Because then after, like, the worst thing you can do is make a scene.
Yeah, just
And then,
shout on the
and if you show
train.
that you have no shame for making a scene, they'll be even more nervous because it's like, man, I have to have enough shame for both of us right now.
And I'm a train molester. You're putting a lot on me. Putting a lot of pressure that I can't meet.
Uh,
It's the perfect plan. Guys, we've solved the Japanese train molester problem.
just make train molesters feel a lot of shame.
Because you know what? They should. Fuck those guys.
That's a really shitty thing to do. People are just trying to go
Luckily,
about their daily business, and you're just like, ooh.
yep, the train molesters just, they're going up in people's grills. And that's just rude. Guys, don't be rude in the train. If you see someone else on the train, just leave them be.
Speaking of rude, I feel really bad for the character we meet this episode. Like the other dude, because apparently people can pass into this world. It's not like that uncommon that they're there. They're not like the only people. It's just most people probably would not.
Yeah, he mentions his wife getting spirited away.
Yeah, because he was like,
Um,
we were having dinner one night, and I was in the living room trying to talk to her, and then she was just gone. I went through every single possibility, and then I realized she had to have been spirited away.
and I don't know if he was entirely wrong, to
I
be
mean, that
honest.
probably happened, but then he like this dude dies in this episode or gets I don't know if it's dead, but he gets like deleted, and
Yeah.
they don't ever really address that, say anything about it. His AK gets sent with them to the other world. They just make no acknowledgement that this dude is gone forever now.
Yep.
They're like, oh
They,
man, we got to get the bus to go home. Oh boy.
which there's a couple weird things about that. A, you watched a man get deleted like 5 minutes ago. That's kind of a thing. B, you have an AK-47 now. That's
You got
not
to
going to
get on
fit
the
in your.
bus and walk home with that.
Yeah, it's not going to fit in your backpack.
I feel like at the very least, maybe because you're in Japan, you could just be like airsoft.
It's airsoft. I don't. There's no airsoft fields around here. It's cosplay. Well, I can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that. And maybe the train
We're.
molester would be a little bit more nervous when you're holding that AK.
Is it cosplay or airsoft? Do I want to chance it? Guys, here's another logical solution to the train molester problem. Give everyone AKs. That's a very American solution.
Yeah, that's a very American solution. That's like, man, if you don't want someone getting in your business, you just show them old Ironside.
You show them you're packing a 44 Magnum. Ain't
You
no one
show
gonna
them
get
that
in your
Desert
business.
Eagle you got carrying around with you.
Now I'm
A
just
Desert
like
Eagle, like a little hand cannon, just.
on the train. He was a train molester. You shot through like 6 people. That's now I'm like my brain has combined bits. So now it's like you've got blonde girl with her. It's just a Makarov. Don't worry about it. Combined with train molester is afraid of guns. So
I
she's
still
like
love that. Like,
trying to.
it's just a Makarov. Don't worry about it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, a Makarov never has killed anybody.
A, the fact that you know the model of that gun is disconcerting. B, the fact that you have it is disconcerting. And C, That shit's loaded.
It's like you and me, like we're going out somewhere, and like someone tried to rob us, and he pulls a gun on us, and I look at you and go like, "Don't worry, it's just a Makarov. We're good."
Then we've taken all of the power away from him.
And he's like, "Shit, they know it's just a Makarov. Makarovs can't kill anybody."
And then we pull out our Desert Eagles.
And then not only do we blow him away, but we blow like several people standing behind him away, as well as like a couple of windows.
We punch a lot of holes in a lot of things. Guys, can we rename the Desert Eagle to the Ultimate Hole Punch?
We just call it the hand cannon.
It's just a hand cannon. Imagine some dude at the office using a fucking Makarov as a hole punch, just shooting into his desk.
No,
Tom,
I wouldn't get anywhere. It's just a Makarov.
Tom, what are you doing? Relax. It's just a Makarov. I have to shoot a couple times because this stack of papers is pretty
Tom.
thick.
No, Tom, what are you doing? You're using a Makarov here, and you hand him your Desert Eagle.
Here, use my Desert Eagle. It's a much better hole punch.
Man, fuck the Makarov. That's the whole point of this podcast. We're going to shit on that little dinky Russian pistol.
Fuck your 9mm Russian bullshit. You get a 50 caliber American-made, assuming, hand cannon. Shoot the face off the dude in front of you, the arms off the people behind him, and the fingers off your own hand.
But yeah, it's a pretty cool show.
Yeah, now they have an AK-47. I can't wait to see how they justify getting that home.
Is that just how they're going to get all their stuff, though? Someone will show up to try to help them and just die because they don't do too much to help them not get, like, insta-killed? Yeah, they really put up. So. She really put up some resistance for that guy. Like, oh, that's my wife, and he started walking towards the monster, and she's like, "That's not your okay, whatever."
Her resistance can be compared to Willy Wonka's resistance to like someone doing something stupid in the plant.
Just, oh no! Don't drink from the chocolate river.
Call the police. Anybody, someone. Yeah, that dude got fucking yeeted.
They let that dude get yeeted, and they didn't speak a word about it. Well, no one will miss him. His wife's missing anyway.
Yeah, no one's gonna miss him. His wife's missing. Savage.
These girls are brutal.
I do like what they did with that one, where like Glasses Girl sees Blonde Girl walking away and she's freaking out trying to grab her, and then all of a sudden Blonde Girl is like behind her grabbing her, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going towards the monster.
It's like, turns out you were the one hallucinating.
Yeah, you thought it was your buddy who was hallucinating, but they got you. That's how they got you.
Another thing about this show is that it's very pretty looking.
Yeah, it's a good looking program.
Like it's like a weird. The other side is like just a weird, overgrown version of the regular world.
Yeah, it's like
with, like sparse buildings. It's mostly like open space, but occasionally you'll just see like a building like splapped in there.
Yeah, it feels like an open world survival game, kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it like feels like you're running around like a stalker or something.
Yeah,
like that kind of wasteland, because it's got that eerie like creepiness to it.
The atmosphere in the world itself is definitely as much of a character as the actual characters, because it's got all these weird attributes to it. Because you mentioned earlier, it's got the glitches that just, I guess, vaporize shit that touches them.
Yep.
It's weird because you see them.
The show seems to take like a sort of lighthearted tone to it, but it's got like such like a weird like dark ambience that it's interesting, because like the opening and stuff too is just them all like drinking, having fun, and it's like, but then you watch it and a man got yeeted,
like just annihilated by a crazy monster. I think that's a pretty interesting direction to take it, because like they could go super hard dark, but that's something we've seen like 1,000 bajillion times before, where everything's edgy and dark and grim. But it's kind of refreshing to have this one show that's like, it's just people hanging out, you know. Sometimes people die,
Yep, they don't take
Whatever.
it too. It kind of reminds me of Elena in that sense.
Yeah, sometimes people
Like that
die. The
man
main
got yeeted.
characters don't
That's
really
not
give a
my
shit.
problem though.
Exactly. That's a very Elena approach to things.
They barely even
I'm
like
like,
address. They don't even address it. So it's not even like it's not our problem. It's just moving on.
oh, that's terrible. Anyway, that one Jeremy Clarkson meme.
Kind of like black comedy.
Yeah, black comedy's nice. This show's cool. It's fun to watch.
It is, and I was surprised because I was like hesitant about even like watching this just to see if I'd like it. But then I actually watched it, and you know what? Its title is stupid, but what if a kid from the last Dungeon Boonies moved to the starter town, which we are going to, for brevity's sake, call it Boonies Kid?
Yeah, because we don't want to say a 14 fucking word long title every time. That's a pain in the neck.
Yep, we are going to call it Boonies Kid, but that show was surprisingly really good.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be an isekai, but it's just a fantasy, and it's one of those like power fantasy things, but they play enough of it in for laughs that it's actually, and some of the jokes actually do hit. It's not just, oh, he's so powerful. Watch him just beat people that are think they're stronger than him.
exactly. Like a lot of the humor is very smartly written.
It's like he's like the anti Anos Voldigold, where instead Anos is fully aware of how powerful he is. This kid has no idea. He thinks he's really weak.
He is basically from the town where all of the legendary heroes go to retire.
Yeah, so he was
So,
basically like raised by all the legendary heroes, but he's the weakest person there, so he thinks he's just naturally weak.
yeah, even though he is not.
Yeah, there's so many. He goes to the city to get a. He wants to join the military, and he's because someone he looks up to joined the military or whatever. So he wants to be a soldier, but he's like, oh man, but I'm like really bad at all this stuff. He lives with a mage that's there, who's like one of his village elders' apprentice, and I'm pretty sure she's the princess that everyone's looking for.
Probably. They
Yeah.
look very similar.
Oh, and the princess's name is like Maria or something, and her name is Marie.
Yep.
Yep.
And the facade of her house looks like a witch's hat. I just like that.
But yeah, he goes to join the military, and I really like the cast of characters in this show.
Yeah, even like the douchey noble guy, I didn't expect to like him, but then in the
Yeah,
second episode when we kind of get to know him a little bit better, I actually like him.
my favorite dynamic is mercenary girl and military captain.
Yeah, those guys are a lot of fun.
Like they show
'Cause
up, and it's like the classic scene where like they're scouting out all the contestants. Oh, and they're scouting out all the contestants, and the military dude apparently recruited the mercenary girl because he's like, hey, if you join the military, we'll absolve you of your crimes. But he ends up going over to her because she's like, by the way, commander. He's like, yeah. What the hell is that?
because everyone can sense just how powerful the main character is,
Everybody
but
with a
like,
power level can sense how powerful he is.
yeah,
Because the girl who because he ends up helping some girl who ends up becoming instantly in love with him.
she's like, he ends up seducing a yandere basically.
Yeah, so he ends up showing up at the exam and stuff and scaring the fuck out of everybody with a power level there. He fails though, so he goes to work or tries to apply for a job or part-time gig at some tavern to work as a cook there. And I think that guy is one of my favorite characters, the chef there, who's like the
Yeah,
former royal guard that's completely on edge the whole time. He gives him a job there just because he's like, I can't let this guy roam around unchecked. He's so dangerous. So I'll keep him under my watch here.
the entire time when the main character shows up for the interview, this dude is basically convinced that he's actually an assassin who's there to kill him.
And I love the part where he's eating like the food at the end, where he makes some like risotto or something, and he ends up going to take a bite. He's like, "I see. He's gonna strike me while I'm eating, because humans are most vulnerable while they're eating."
It's so good.
But
And
yeah,
then
so
later,
yeah,
the
the others go there. the mercenary girl and the commander, and they see he's working there, and they're like, "What the hell is he doing here?" And he's like, "You know who that is?" He's like, "Yeah, how could you let someone so dangerous work here?" He's like, "You know he's dangerous, and why'd you fail him from the military exam?"
I love the reason he fails the written test is because he writes ancient runes all over his test, and everyone's like, this kid's just doodling. Let's just fail him.
And then they realize, oh wait, these are ancient runes. This kid is like super competent. And it somehow becomes a thing where all of the side characters decide they need to get together and get him into the military academy. The yandere girl, because she's obviously in love with him. The mercenary girl, because she thinks she can make some money exploiting him. The military commander dude, because he's like, this is definitely who's going to protect our nation best.
Exactly. It's a very believable way of getting all the cast members together, and I like the way they did that. Everything
like the cast
feels
dynamic.
natural. The cast is great. There's just a lot of good shit.
I love the douchey noble guy. He ends up constantly trying to pick fights with the belt princess, like the yandere girl, because he's like, "Oh, you make nobles look bad." And before they get into a fight, Lloyd shows up, and he's
The
like,
main character.
and the noble guy is actually a decent guy. Where he's like, "Oh," like they're like, "Oh, are you gonna fight?" And he's like, "No, I'm part of the military now, so it would be dishonorable if I go and fight a civilian."
And literally everyone there is like stacking everything up to make this dude fight Lloyd.
Yeah, because it's like, well, like, Commander, I thought you said never raise your arms against a civilian. He's like, no, screw that. You gotta fight this guy. You gotta prove how tough you are. And then he realizes, he's like, oh, it must be because they heard stories about me, about how I'm so powerful that they want to see me in action. And he humbly requests Lloyd fight him. And Lloyd's like, well, gee, I don't know. I'm not very strong. And he's like, don't worry, I'll let you. They're talking to each other. It's like, hey, Commander, do you think this guy's gonna be? Do you think? I think his name's Alan. It's like, do you think Alan will survive this? It's like, I don't know. Alan's pretty durable. As long as he doesn't take a hit right to the face, he should be okay.
Immediately after Alan's proposal, well, if you're feeling a little nervous, I'll let you even have the first punch. Here, hit me right in the face.
And the mercenary girl and him are like, and the commander are looking at each other like, oh, he's dead.
This dude's so dead. The man just signed his death warrant.
The comedic timing in this show is pretty good.
They did a great job. Cause like,
and it's not like the fucking straight man routine that's like so common in like Japanese anime where one character will say something stupid and then another character will call them out for saying something stupid.
Yeah, everyone is just a little bonkers. Everyone's a little crazy about this kid. And it's a lot of fun to watch. Watching everyone freak out about how powerful Lloyd is great.
Again, I really like the commander dude where the mercenary girl kind of notices. She's like, oh, the commander's freaking out. Even he didn't expect him to fail. And they like the deputy commander finishes her speech and she says, all right, Commander, any words for the troops? Raise your hand if you're not here. Because she's just wondering where he is.
Oh, it's so good. It's a
really well done show.
Yeah.
Also, I like how the mentor keeps cursing the witch lady because she keeps calling her Lolly Baba.
Yeah, because
she's like, also, I did a curse on you where you'll face a minor misfortune anytime you say Lolly Baba.
She is though. Like that's what she is. She is the lolliest grandma.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, you've got.
I didn't expect to like it because it looks so generic when you just look at a picture of it.
I honestly wasn't sure, but enough people were like, "Trust me, this show is actually really funny." That I gave it a shot, and I laughed a lot harder at this show than I expected I would.
I feel like I bought the light novel for this at Anime New York and never touched it, just because like the Yen Press booth was being like, "Hey, buy 2 get 1 free," and I'm like, "Okay."
Proceeds to buy all of it. Wouldn't be surprising, to be honest.
Yeah.
You should check.
I should check, but I have a massive pile of shit that I bought. I gotta go through all of that.
You gotta go through all of the stuff that we bought like over a year ago.
Yeah. Well, no, I bought more stuff since then.
Oh, okay.
I don't have room for anything. Like I've been keeping up with the Inspector manga, so anytime like a new volume of that comes out, also really excited that that is getting a season 2. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
gonna be
keep up
cool.
with the manga, but I have nowhere to put it. So it just kind of is stacking up as I get new volumes of it.
Guys, we need everyone who's listening to this to really knuckle down and make us famous and make us millionaires so we can buy Alex some fucking shelves to put his manga on.
I need more shelving. I have shelving. It's just not enough.
There's just too much. I could use some shelving too. Guys, we need shelving.
Yeah, you need to make us famous so we can get more money. But you know who else needs more money?
Whoever made fucking X-Arm.
Whoever made fucking X-Arm. So, we picked the show not because it's good. In fact, it is a train wreck. It is a disaster. It is horrible to look at. Everything about this show screams like a failure of a production, and I'm so ready for it.
I I love that start because I could hear you winding up to just dive into it. It was the clap. It's the wind up clap before we delve into this into this.
Into this, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure this is like a Crunchyroll original production thing. I think this is based after a manga because I think it's probably a fine manga. The idea behind it is fine, but holy shit, they botched. Like, you want to talk about botched productions? You
Eh,
think Berserk 2016 was bad?
They they beat it. They beat Berserk 2016. Everything like from the OP to the ED, everything is just scuffed.
Like,
Like
everything failed.
the the OP song baffles me because it sounds like a fucking Simple Plan song.
It does. It does. Also,
That's
it's showing off everyone's jank ass 3D modeling, which
yeah,
is like
in
worse than
stock
how some
poses.
their modeling is worse than some VTubers.
Yeah, I could probably make a better VTuber model than
You know,
these
also,
characters.
you know what's sad? I'm looking at pictures right now of what the manga looks like, and they're actually pretty expressive. Like the art isn't bad for the manga.
Well, you wouldn't fucking know it by watching it. Oh my
You,
god.
no one has facial expressions.
No one emotes. Like I think Cop Girl makes an angry face at one point when she's captured by Kiryu from fucking Time Splitters 2.
If you want to know, like, you're probably waiting, like, oh, well, aren't they going to do a plot synopsis of just like what this show's about?
You
It's about
can't.
androids or something, but like, that's not the point. I'm not watching this for the plot. I'm watching this for the technical marvels that this has
Let's
achieved.
I would rather go point by like instead of a plot synopsis, I would rather go point by point through this show about
Like
all of
shot
the
by like shot composition,
everything is fucking
transitions.
like we might end up accidentally going through the plot only just so that we can describe all of the weird shit that goes on in this show.
So it's about androids and this like they're fighting. I don't know. So the the main character, so he's always in CG and he has 1,000 yard stare. Like his face is just like he's constantly like looking off into the horizon, like, oh my god, what did they do to me?
It looks like they fucking
It looks like
Weekend at
he is well
Bernie'd him.
aware of what he is, and he is not satisfied with it.
They gave his 3D model too much sentience and he's just in existential horror
Yeah.
constantly.
It's weird because he does become a floating brain, so it like kind of fits, but like yeah, there's a the
He's like that before he becomes a brain.
I'm like holding my hands over my face right now because I keep remembering things about this. So the first part of this show is him at home with his brother. His brother is in 2D, like drawn, and he is in CG.
And they're standing
Also, the
literally
cuts are
next
so
to each
weird. Like he's
other.
at school, and it does like a weird zoom into like a poorly looking like school window, and then it cuts to the school, and his friends come over
Oh
to
my
show him the phone, and he gets all oh no, and like he's like he gets sick because he looks at technology or something, and then it cuts immediately to him making dinner at home,
Oh,
And then
don't worry. Him getting sick at technology never fucking comes up again because he's gonna become a brain in a jar in like 5
so it
minutes.
doesn't matter anymore. All he mentions at one point is just that like technology makes him feel sick. In fact, I didn't even know it was technology. I literally thought it was girls at first. Because it's constantly people trying to show him girls on their phone, but he gets sick. So it's apparently the phone that was making him sick. But yeah, so he's at home with his brother, and his 2D brother walks up to him, or just kind of saunters onto the screen from the side, because that's how people move in this.
Poorly.
Yeah, poorly. And then his brother and him have a conversation where his brother basically has this thing where he says, put your best foot forward or something. And then that gets repeated like all the time throughout this entire first episode. In fact, it gets repeated immediately after. His brother says that to him, and then smash cut, because it's all smash cuts in this show. There's not really like a natural transition to anything. Smash cut to him at the convenience store, even though he just made dinner. And then he's about to leave.
Oh my God. I didn't even think of that.
He just had dinner. Smash cut to the convenience store getting some food. And then he's walking out, and there's a 2D in the background, 2D, like some guys harassing some girl, and he's like, I shouldn't get involved. And I'm like, yeah, you really can't. You're on 2 different planes, technically.
Like,
and then he's like, I got to remember what my brother just told me. And then
he zones out as he walks into the street.
Yeah, but it's him going, I got to remember what my brother just told me. And then you got to put your best foot forward, which was not even a minute ago, which was said. And then he immediately turns around and then gets hit by a truck. And then we smash cut to androids fighting people. And all of these like goons in like the floatiest fight ever. Like all the fighting feels super floaty in this.
Oh, it's so bad.
So it's a cop girl and an android girl, and they're fighting just these goons with like faces that don't really change or emote, because no one's faces change or emote in this. I remember when I showed you some WebMs of this, you said it looked like Ruby, but that is a big insult to Ruby.
I don't know.
Because I don't personally like Ruby, but at least Ruby had Monty Ohm and people who were like, as a hobby, used to like animate fights like this, like CG fights. So they were at least very competent at it. Like that was the one highlight of it, is the fights generally looked good in that, even though the storytelling wasn't very good.
Do you know what it was? It's the WebM is small, and I was viewing it on my monitor, so like everything was small, and I was like, oh, it's small, it's whatever, it's how it is. Watching this, I watched this on my 60-inch TV, and I
watched it on my computer, so I imagine your experience was even like way worse.
Oh my God, no flawed details escaped my reach. Holy shit. Like it does the thing that they do in bad shows where people are like in the background shooting, but that's only like 2 yards away, and somehow they still miss even in the points where the character isn't dodging anything. And like,
I'm going to be completely honest too. I think this was the most well-produced part of the episode, which is really saying something. Like the fight at the dock was the best looking part of the episode, and even then it was some of the like weakest CG fighting I've ever seen.
It is. It's so bad. And there's one part that made me laugh uproariously. They need to establish that the android is tough, I guess, or whatever. So they have a dude with a fucking Uzi with no sights on it, like freaking out, like trying to aim at her. And then it cuts to a shot where it's almost like he's looking at her through a scope, but he doesn't have a scope on his gun.
Oh, I thought he had a scope. Like I didn't pay that much attention to it.
No, he doesn't. He's holding an Uzi with no scope on it, and he's also like 2 meters away.
And it hits her, and obviously she gets back up and then jumps at him and kicks him in the face, but like none of the kicks feel like they have any weight.
Nothing matters. Nothing has any weight or any impact.
And then they're like, oh man, there's more coming. We got to go find a hiding place. Smash cut to them hiding.
They're just hiding on, I guess, on the boat. and they're like, we gotta open the crate because the cop girl is she's holding a crate.
And they
And
open the crate, and it turns out it's the main character. Except he's been
so
in a
there's a
coma
brain.
in a coma for 16 years, so he's just the brain, and so he connects to the android girl. But then they got to run away because the Terminator shows up. It's like this dude who can phase through walls and stuff with his robot hand. And oh my god, the part where the cops are shooting him and the slow motion bullets, and it's just it looks so bad. Everything this guy shows up, it's like his CG was like you talk about it like needed more time in the oven. Like they never put it in. This is just raw.
His character model looks worse than character models from fucking Time Splitters 2 on the GameCube.
He looks like he's fucking from Deus Ex, like the first one.
Yeah, yeah. And
he looks so bad, and so they end up fighting. Actually, the part where he first comes through the wall.
He just pops up, surprise, motherfucker.
It doesn't even feel like, he has the power to phase through walls. It's like they just dragged the model through it.
It is. It's so bad. Guys, how'd you fuck it up this bad?
And then they end up fighting. They have to run away. They get separated. He captures the girl, the human police officer girl, and he's gonna like take out her organs or something. And he has her like strapped down to a table, and it just looks so goofy the way her like head's flailing around.
Yeah, she's like wiggling on the table, but it looks like garbage because everything looks like garbage. Her face looks like a fucking Muppet, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
And then the android girl busts in from the ceiling, and this is a weird part where she comes in, she kicks him in the head, but then it cuts to her and the other girl talking, but like it doesn't really like play out the rest of the kick.
No.
So like, are you guys just stopping with your hand on his neck or your foot on his neck, or did he go flying or something?
We don't know. There is no answers.
And then she picks her up and starts running away, and the dude starts chasing her, and it just looks so like the running looks so bad.
Also,
it's like, oh lord, he coming.
Also, they jacked the brain kid into the ship via like a 3.5 millimeter cable that you would use to hook up a guitar to a fucking amp.
And then he flashbacks to his brother from that one conversation they had where he said, you got to put your best foot forward. And he's like, well, I don't have a foot anymore, but... And then he hijacks the system on the ship and starts hijacks the bad guys.
The boat. And you want to talk about, like, it looks like they dragged the model of the villain through the wall. They literally just drag a shitty ship model through his model.
Oh, and then he ends up having to fuse with the android girl in order to fight because her movement system got damaged. And
this was something that bothered me a lot. Like, she says that her mobility chip is damaged, which is a hardware problem. Downloading dumbass.exe software is not going to fix that. I don't understand how. Also, how does she download dumbass.exe software?
Wi-Fi.
Over the fucking Wi-Fi?
Yep, through the Wi-Fi. Actually, they're close enough, so probably Bluetooth.
I like, oh my god.
Yep, and then after he starts, and it's just the weirdest thing, because he's just flailing around at first throughout most of the fight, and it's just like, hey, let's just Gary's mod the CG models right now. Just have the arms go everywhere.
I've seen better animation in Gary's mod, like, source filmmaker shit posting videos.
It's hella impressive for how bad it is.
The way he beats the bad guy is he fucking pulls a Limitless too. Like, he pulls a Limitless and he's just like, I just gotta pretend I'm a hero in a kung fu movie, and then the body will just do the kung fu moves. And like, why can't the robot do that?
Whoa, I know kung fu.
I don't understand.
It is just awful to look at. It's so stupid. But I was fascinated the entire time. Just like every design decision made me sit there and go, how could they look at this and say this was okay to put out?
I was
This is what we want to
appalled.
stick. We want to stick our brand on this.
Crunchyroll original sounds good to us.
Like, was this a group of people that have never animated a project before? Was it a bunch of competent people, but they were all kept separate and in the dark about what they were doing? They weren't told what the other group was doing?
There is a scene. It smash cuts to this out of the fucking blue, where it's
Was this a side project for the director? Was he not actually really like fully involved? He was just getting little bits over time and just being like, throw that with this, or that's good.
I don't know, man. This is a scene where 3 CG animated characters are talking alongside a 2D animated character. Like,
the part where the fucking
with the cops?
the cops all show up, and then there's one cop, the little guy who's 2D, and then for some reason he's the only one. Like, all I could think of was like they had to throw these people in last second, but they didn't make models for them, so they had to just draw something real quick and just stick it on screen.
Yes, this scene.
Like the cops one. I can't believe I forgot about that. I remember sitting there watching it, going like, "What? Why? Why is only one of them like that?"
I don't know. And
he's drawn in such a weird style compared to the rest of them.
And the guy standing next to him in the black suit looks like something someone made in the Soul Calibur character creator. It's so terrible. Why?
How did this happen?
I don't know.
In fact, I don't even care about the show. I want the making of this show documentary.
Can we get this, please?
It's like, well, we were given the project, and everybody quit but one person, so they were in charge of everything. And then they had to have their cousin come on to do part of it, and they're not actually experienced with any of it. And then they lost everything, and then had to do it from scratch the night before. And then we lost that. So essentially the last thing we did was we just kind of paper mache'd it and put it together and said, that's fine.
We just took all of our assets and we just threw them together in this one project. And then we got this.
It's fucking amazing.
It's like, I like watching bad movies because I find them fun to watch.
This is worse CG than Africa Salaryman.
It is.
Africa Salaryman didn't try.
Africa Salaryman didn't try in any aspect whatsoever, and yet somehow succeeds on every aspect over this show. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and I love it.
I am looking forward to just seeing. I'm looking forward because normally shows, like anime for the most part, will kind of have a strong beginning and then like dip over time. Like it's like, like, oh, this doesn't look as good as some of those early episodes. How much, especially now when they see that this is not doing well and they stop giving a shit. Like, are we gonna get to a point where we're just looking at cells? Actually, you would need animation for cells, so are we gonna get like a concept art of a background with like a 3D model just stuck on top of it?
I don't know, because I would swear that school picture that they like zoom into at the beginning is a fucking JPEG they pulled off Google.
It looks like a JPEG that also was like, not in the right resolution.
No. Guys, never zoom into a JPEG. It always looks terrible. Oh my god.
Amazing.
So that was us losing our minds in the middle of our program.
You don't get to see something that terrible that like with that much production money behind it that often, so just savor it while we can.
If there was any money behind that, I would guarantee that it was embezzled. They embezzled all of the money that went into that. And
someone
then realized
someone skimmed from the top.
Not even the top. They just took it. They took all of it.
Like Crunchyroll gave a studio like, "Hey, can you produce us an anime?" And they're like, "Sure." It's like, we're not going to make them an anime. We'll just run off with the money. Well, they need something or they can sue us. I don't know. Do we still have that like those old CG assets? Yeah. move them around a little bit.
Call in some favors with your cousins and just like have him throw some of those 3D assets in together. This is going to be on someone's resume. I know it. And I want to know how that pans out. Are you still there? Oh no. Oh no, I can't hear you. What a fitting way to end this fucking X-Arm segment.
The last thing about this show, the voice acting. There actually sounds like something's off about the recording quality. You know what I mean?
I'm glad it's not just me.
Like I'm not much of an audio guy, but I can hear it. I can hear something's off.
When I was going through and watching my shows to get caught up, I watched this after I watched Higurashi, and I knew there was something off, but at first I was like, maybe it's just like the headphones I'm listening to this on. And then I realized that I was watching Higurashi, and Higurashi sounded fine. So I guess they just recorded this in like someone's basement or something. I don't know.
They just allowed the actors to record this from home, because at this point they were like, this project's already so scuffed, we're not going to bring them into the studio for this.
That could be. I think the only person who sounds somewhat good is the villain for this episode is voiced by Kazuma Kiryu, the main hero of the Yakuza, well, of some of the Yakuza games. And his audio
the majority of them.
Yeah. His audio was actually okay, but the problem with that was like
it made everyone else way more noticeable.
Yeah. And also his writing wasn't very good. Like when he comes through the wall and he's like, ho ho ho. It was the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Also, the part where he's picking up the police girl by the neck and he's like, stop struggling or I'll kill you. I'm like, but you're already planning on taking out her organs.
Yeah, just kill her anyway. Like, why wait? I don't know.
This is post, the attempted organ removal.
Yeah, you might as well just kill her now. The other thing, there's a lot of things about him. I have a lot to dissect about Kazuma being the bad guy. The entire time, all I could think about was Yakuza 0, or just Yakuza series in general, karaoke. So, like, anytime he would...
Dame.
Yeah.
Dame-o, dame-o.
That's what he's singing when he gets trapped in that wall. But, like, when he comes through the... first time... He comes through the first time, the only thing I could think of was breaking the law, breaking the world. Because that's what he was doing. He was breaking the law. Oh my God.
It's a scuffed show, it's a big mess, and it's just... ugh.
It even broke our podcast for a little bit.
Yeah, it broke our podcast.
That's going to be fun to edit around.
Yeah, have fun with
that. Don't worry, I will. Let's talk about, I'm assuming, what's next? Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone. So we're watching Dr. Stone season 2, so it is time for the Stone Wars.
Stone Wars.
Dr. Stone's one of those shows where it's just like, every time I watch it, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So in this episode, the first part is essentially a recap, but then they make instant noodles.
Yes, because it turns out as Senku finds a lot of weird solutions to like his problems, his solutions seem like they're circuitous, but they actually aren't when he explains them. Because like his solution to fighting a war in the winter is instant noodles, space food, because it's easier to transport. I guess.
True, you'll have, better supplies than the caveman, the Unga Bunga crew.
Yeah. because they're gonna have to be maneuverable because
I
those dudes
literally
will just
don't know
kick the
why
shit
you
out
would
of them.
want to be the Unga Bunga crew.
I don't know.
Especially for modern people. Like, just imagine Tsukasa comes over and he raises you and he's just like, all right, welcome. You are now part of the Tsukasa army. Life is great here. Oh, should we try to improve society somewhat? No, we're not going to do that this time. That was a mistake they made.
Now we don't do that here. Oh. Well, I guess this is better than going off and being alone. And you know what? That's fair. I feel like as soon as Senku shows up and is like, hey, we reinvented radio and like light bulbs and everything like that,
And
people are gonna,
ramen.
and ramen. Hey, do you guys want ramen? We reinvented it.
Dude, all we've been
It's,
eating is meat on a skewer.
we can't even cook it properly because we just have this fire. Everything is like charred. Well, we got ramen. It's thoroughly cooked and it's delicious. Sold.
Yeah, they
Sorry,
essentially do that.
Tsukasa.
That's basically what they do the episode. And at the end, Gen comes up with a plan to essentially use the CD that they have to trick the Tsukasa army, because they only follow him because they think he's the strongest leader around. But they're going to try to trick the Tsukasa army into thinking that the Americans are coming and that the world hasn't collapsed, just Japan.
Yeah, because America is going to show up like that Bill Wirtz video. Open the
America
country.
is going to show up like in a movie made by Americans where America comes to save the day at the end.
Yeah. America needs to come save the day and beat up Tsukasa, this technically a high schooler. Because that's the thing. He's a high schooler. He's just
I mean,
very strong.
they got a bunch of blonde people there. They might as well just like make fake U.S. military uniforms to put on them.
Yo,
They could do it.
it
That
could
might
work.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, because I don't know how much anyone else has seen. I don't remember. I don't think they've seen much because they've got the scout, but like they already have a plan to distract her.
Yeah. The only people that have seen it is the scout and Hyuga and his men.
Oh, that's right. You got Spear Dude, badass Spear Man.
But he hasn't seen everybody in the village.
That's true. I think that could work.
Like, look at Maga. Or Magma. You could just like stick him in a big military uniform, have him puff out the chest, be like,
He would love
"Don't
that shit.
worry, I am big, great U.S. soldier."
Magma would super be down for that shit.
I guess though that it falls apart the second any of them have to speak English.
That is also fair. Because they do have to speak English to modern people who've probably heard it before. But at the very least, Gen is going to pretend to be a woman so that he can convince them that the Americans are coming.
And that's their plan.
That's their plan to make everyone stop fighting.
Their plan is to a siege without bloodshed. They just need to turn Tsukasa's people against him.
Which, I mean, really shouldn't be that hard.
Just be like, guys, ramen.
Hey guys, you know how shitty winter was? Sitting in these cold caves with nothing but a fire?
We made fucking heaters already.
Yeah, we made heaters. Well, you've sold me. I have officially turned tide. And then Tsukasa doesn't even have to fight anyone, because what's he going to do? They could just take the revival fluid away from him. Or let him keep reviving people and then just keep
showing
going
them
over.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah. And then it's like he's shooting himself in the foot.
It's like, why do people want to live comfortably?
It's irritating. Why does no one want to be cavemen?
Guys, don't you want to be cavemen and wrestle bears?
Don't you want to hang out with me and Spear Guy? No, dude. No one wants to hang out with you and that weird Spear Guy. We want heaters and ramen and like electricity.
Yeah.
Because these people, that have to be like yesterday. Imagine you like fall asleep standing up, and then as soon as you wake up, all of a sudden it's Unga Bunga times.
Also, Tsukasa hates the boomers. That's kind of the crux of his whole society. But what happens when they become the boomers?
That's a very good question.
Do they have like a
Someday,
ritualistic killing at a certain age? You have to be like executed?
I don't know. I just don't know. You know what I actually, this is another valuable question. What happens when anyone gets sick? Because, like, if he's only rescuing, like, teenagers and kids, someone's going to get sick eventually. And there aren't going to be any doctors. Like,
Because doctors science bad.
science, science good, though, when it means you don't die of smallpox.
Slaps table. Tsukasa would have voted for Donald Trump.
I like how you said slaps table and you also slapped your table. You
I
did
didn't think
both.
it was going to be loud enough.
I mean, I could hear it, so I'm assuming it's on the audio. And you know what? You're right. People actively working against their own interests.
And he would have been like, science, ugh.
Science bad. George Soros funding Dominion. I saw a thing where it was one of the Daily Show guys accidentally found himself at the riot and he was interviewing people beforehand. And he was like, he asked someone if they really believed that like some famous person hacked into Dominion to change the results. And they were like, yeah, anything's possible. And then he looks at him and he's like, do you also believe that a candidate who has never polled above 50% lost and is mad about it? And they were like, nope.
Anything's possible, but that.
Anything's possible, except that thing that actually happened and is extremely likely. It's the conspiracy is the only possible one.
Yeah.
People are fucking stupid.
People are stupid.
Senku
Like
would have
Tsukasa.
sold me. Tsukasa is pretty stupid. Senku would have sold me with, hey, we have antibiotics. Done.
Yeah.
I'm gone. See you, dude. Like, all that other stuff is pretty cool. Knowing I won't die if I catch a cold, that's priceless.
Yeah. Tsukasa's dumb. Senku's smart.
Senku.
But for the most part, more of a setup episode this week for Dr. Stone.
Yeah. It's to be anticipated when you get like the start of a new season. They've got to establish things and set up where the season's going.
Yeah.
That's just how it be.
But something we're just diving right into with all the shit going on with that. Higurashi.
Oh, places will go.
We're talking about 2 episodes because we skipped an episode to talk about the to do the awards the previous week. So I can't believe Oishi figured out how to solve the mystery. He solved Higurashi.
Oishi.
There can be no murderers if you murder everybody.
Yes. That's the thing. That's the thing he did. That's the ultimate solution, is just kill everyone and then no one will kill each other.
It's genius.
But
yeah, so Oishi was a character we never saw go insane, and I was wondering how they were going to do that. And then we see, oh, yeah, like, because I'm like, maybe something happened behind the scenes we didn't see. But nope, they show that part where he just stumbles in, absolutely crazed looking, and they're like, huh, I wonder where Tomitake and Takano are. And I'm pretty sure, because he shows up with a bloody bat, that he just killed the 2 of them.
Yeah. Oh, he's got the bat too. I'm pretty sure it's that bat that Keiichi has that he ends up killing
everybody. It's just the bat.
It's the bat. There is one bat in Hinamizawa. There is exactly one.
And it has one purpose, and it's not baseball.
It is not baseball. Like, there's some shit with that, because like, he's got the bat, it's already dented and bloody to fuck. I'm pretty sure he used that to kill everyone else. we get a shot of Satoko walking kind of behind him or after him. She's covered in blood. I think she's the other Looper, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like saying Satoko is probably like the culprit or something is a safe bet. But
I'm
yeah.
gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna say I think Satoko is the culprit. I think she's working with the company, and I think she's injecting people with the Hinamizawa syndrome. And
Yeah,
we'll get
definitely.
into
Because there's no way most of these people, because most of the people we're about to talk about have never gone insane before. But yeah, with Oishi, so he goes nuts, shoots everybody, and then beats Rika's head in with the bat and kills her. But then Rika sees Hanyu again, so she's in like the spirit world with her, and Hanyu gives Rika the last of her power to sort of remember who killed her in each route now.
Yeah, so she gets a little bit of power up.
And she also tells her, if you do actually want out, there is a sword in the statue that can kill even immortals.
Right. And then Hanyu yeets, she dips, she's done. That's it.
And then Rika goes and she finds the sword and it's gone, and so she gets really depressed. But then she finds a chunk of it. There's a small piece of it, and she's like, I'll give it 5 more goes.
And this chunk is something we actually see in the OP, which I was wondering what that was, because it's even in the first half's OP,
Yeah,
and I was like, what is that?
It's a shard of the sword. But yeah, so she said at the end of the first episode that we watched that she'll give it 5 more tries, so I'm like, oh, we have 5 more arcs left. Then the next episode happens, and it's like, nope.
We were both deceived because we go through 4 arcs in the next episode real quick.
So the first one is Akasaka shows up, and first of all, they show up and they're like, hey, do you kids like Mahjong?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh boy, Mahjong. I love Mahjong, and we got a little bit of Mahjong action. But then, yeah, Akasaka shows up, and he is generally the rock. Like, he is the, like, solid character. Whenever he's there, things are going to get better. And of course, they do that this time because Rika's like, hey, can you stay behind just until the end of the festival? And he's like, don't worry, kid. I'll stay there and help you out.
Smash cut.
And smash cut. He is laughing maniacally, clawing out his own throat while burning the building down.
Yeah.
So, yep, and she's even like, wow, fate really hates me. Akasaka, of all people.
Fate really fucked me on this one.
Yep, and outside, Oishi's like, Akasaka, what are your demands? It's me, your Mahjong buddy.
He actually says that, and I think that's kind of hilarious.
And then he murders himself and Rika, and then we see her, like, close a finger, like, counting down the number of tries. Then in the next one, the Sonozaki hot mom has killed everybody.
I didn't want to see it. You hate to see it when the hot mom goes postal.
Yeah, and so she ends up murdering everybody because of their accursed blood. And then she kills Rika, and then we get to the next one where now Kimiyoshi, the mayor, is the one who's crazy. And he's dragging Rika to the swamp to sacrifice her.
And he's just like monologuing the entire time. And I actually kind of like how Rika is just... like these last few arcs, Rika doesn't give a fuck about anything.
She's getting real tired of this shit.
Yeah, because when Oishi is killing her in the first one, she's like, I'm not going to tell you shit. Fuck off. And then he kills her. And in this one, she's like, can you stop monologuing and just kill me, please? Yeah, I really
like,
don't
Can you
care.
finish your monologue after you throw me in the swamp? And at first he's like, Rika, you get it. You understand the importance of the ritual and all that. And she's like, no, your breath just really stinks.
It's Rika who doesn't give a fuck is amazing.
And then after she dies in the swamp, smash cut to, I actually laughed at this. It's Angel Mort, the, like, diner. So the cops are all outside in riot gear surrounding the building, and inside a bunch of people are dead. Everyone's already been killed, and it's Rika's just sitting there at the table, just covered in blood, looking just so sad. Just like, I can't get a break. I can't get a break. It just doesn't stop. It doesn't give me a moment to fucking rest. And then Keiichi's beating in Rena's head. And then apparently Keiichi with just a bat, a teenager with a bat. The cops don't want to take on the building. They don't want to go in, send the riot police in. It's not like it's a hostage situation anymore because he's already started killing people. They can see that because it's a diner, so they can just look in the windows and be like, oh, that's a lot of dead bodies. But a kid with a bat, they're like, no. I don't think our 40 cops in riot gear will be able to handle this.
It's too dangerous. He's crazy. He's got that psycho strength. This one's like a demented twist on the one from the original series where Rena takes everyone hostage, except in that they justified it with she built a bomb in the school. So the cops are like, we can't go in there. She's going to blow everyone up.
Yeah, there's literally no reason for them to not go in to stop Keiichi from hitting everybody with a baseball bat.
Exactly. And he gets in another like baseball bat sword fight with Rena, who loses because, Keiichi's preferred weapon is the baseball bat.
And then he goes and he asks Rika, he's like, how do I get these parasites out of me? And she's like, you gotta smash it open right here. She points to her head. You gotta just crack it open.
Yep, crack it open, eat my brains, and then it's all over.
And of course, then he just kills her, and then we're moving on to the last timeline, the last try.
Yeah, But yeah,
I don't think Keiichi has ever killed Rika before, so that's a new one. Keiichi is the man that works miracles, so that's a big deal.
A lot of this is a big deal. This episode period is a real big deal.
Yeah, we got a bunch of killers who have never been the killers before. Oishi, Akasaka, Shion's mom, and
Kimiyoshi.
Kimiyoshi. All of these people.
And we get someone who has been a killer, but not a Rika killer. Yeah. At one point, they think he kills Rika, but that's just because Keiichi's kind of an idiot. Holy shit. Like, if you've ever wanted to get your fix of gruesome murder, just watch this episode, because there's a lot of it.
I have a friend that really loves Higurashi, and he was so pissed off that they made Akasaka a bad guy for one.
I can understand why. Like, if they're doing what I think they're doing, then it makes sense that they would make him a killer.
Yeah, obviously, because like if he's getting injected with stuff, it's because someone's fucking with the whole thing.
Yeah, there's another looper. Because Hanyu, when she tells Rika about the sword, she doesn't tell Rika that she can use it to kill herself. She just says, you can use it to kill someone who goes through the loops. So I think that was more along the lines of like, instead of her killing herself, like, you can kill the bad one.
Yeah.
Take out the bad
You can stop
looper.
the bad guy.
I'm not the bad guy.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
because this has already like drained the soul of my friend who really likes the series, because he's like, it was such a perfect ending. Had such a good like theme of friendship, and now here we are.
And here we are. She's probably gonna have to kill one of her friends.
Yeah, especially like Satoko too, if it is Satoko, because Satoko goes through a lot of like unnecessary suffering. That's kind of just like a dick move.
Yeah. It would also kind of
really
explain.
Bad if it was just like because I hate the trope of this person was abused, so they became a psychopath.
Exactly. I kind of hope that's not where they're going, but it feels likely. But I guess you know what? We'll never know until we get there.
We'll never know.
We'll just never know. Period. Whatever. It's gonna end on a cliffhanger. I swear to God, I really hope not.
No, I don't believe it will. But if you do want to find out what happens, one, keep watching the show, because that's probably going to be a little bit better than sticking with us. But stick with us regardless.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about all that cool stuff. We'll talk about all the cool stuff with the other shows on our list. And we'll talk about just how bafflingly fucked X-Arm is every week.
I hope it stays that way, because if it improves, it just wouldn't be worth it.
I would be sad if it improved.
If it improves, I'm dropping it.
You know what? That's fair. Because literally the bustedness of it is the only reason to keep it. Because, like, the story's not that interesting. It's whatever.
It's fine.
But yeah, stick with us. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure your notifications are turned on to be notified when we upload. And if you like the video, please leave a like on the video. We appreciate that. If you're listening on any of the other podcast platforms where we also distribute to, then give any kind of positive feedback or subscribe on those as well. We're basically everywhere.
We need feedback.
We do. We do need feedback. Tell us what you think of the new format. That's something that we really genuinely want to know. We know we've got some regular listeners out there. Tell us what you think of how we're doing this new format. I like it.
I like it more too. Do you want us to spend an extra 10 minutes each show talking about plot synopsis?
Do you want us to replace some of our fire bits where we can just like rant about things with plot synopsis that's not generally as interesting? Because it's literally just like
you probably already watched it.
Yeah. And it's listening to two guys describe what they watched on TV. It's much more fun to listen to us talk about just how fucking baffling the choices at X-Arm were. I can't get over that, man. I can't get over it.
It's everything down to a finite level, like the editing choices, the shot composition. There's a part where he slides out of her, just like his spirit, just like,
yeah, and
just slightly across the screen, just like a keyframe, just
because we want the audience to know that he's also through the eyes of the android staring at her with the same dead expression.
Yes, everyone has a dead 1,000-yard stare. And I love how the opening wanted to show that off. Like, these are the models.
They do a real good job of setting your expectations.
But then the ending happens, and then they're like, hey, look how good the manga art is.
Yeah, hey, let's show you a bunch of manga art to this. I didn't even talk about the fucking ED song. The ED song sounds like a modern band was inspired by the Berserk 1997 OP. Put your glasses on.
I didn't even listen to the ending. I was just like still processing the entire show.
It has similar energy to that. And it's like, guys, if you wanted to be inspired by anything, you picked Berserk 97.
This is going to be the show I watch right before we record, just because I want everything to be fresh in my mind.
Oh, definitely. Because good Lord. But regardless, to keep up with us freaking the fuck out over this show, do all those things we described. Follow us on social media.
At Protagonist.
At Facebook and Twitter.
At Facebook and Twitter.
Just at them and ask them how to find our
Protagonist
podcast.
Seat, Facebook, Twitter. Just go on there.
Just go follow us. Go listen to us.
If you follow us on Twitter, I'm going to be honest, 90% of it is probably going to be just like me retweeting VTuber stuff. But you should still.
And it's good VTuber stuff.
Of course, only the finest.
Exactly. You can only expect the finest content from us. But that's all we got for this week. Stay tuned. Class dismissed.
Bye-bye.